Bismillah, Assalamu alaikum. Happy to have you here today. So, inshallah, we're going to do webinar workshop about confidence in homeschooling for moms, parents, and also for the children. So, in the first half, I want to talk about you having confidence in teaching. And the second half will be how to help your child be confident as a child, right? As you know, learning and playing and talking to other kids, socialization, all of that. You can leave your questions in the chat. We can also have a discussion at the end. And yes, please leave your questions whenever you think about them in the chat, and I'll get to answer them as we go. Okay. All right, so let me just pull up my bullet points so I don't forget anything. Okay. So, Bismillah. So, why confidence is important for us to be confident when you're teaching? First thing is it will calm your nervous system, right? You are going to be less stressed and you're going to show up with more like joy and relaxation, that you're able to come up with better plans, better examples, and you get to enjoy that whole process of homeschooling. And when you lack it, your kids can also sense that. They can tell that you're not confident, and they can just walk all over you. They won't take you seriously. They won't pay attention. This is when power struggles come up usually, and they start pushing all your buttons because they can tell you're not really interested. You're not really enjoying the process. So why would they? Why would they follow what you're saying? Right, and to build confidence, you're going to need two things. You need practice, of course, and you need to know what you're teaching. But before we get hung up on knowing what you're teaching, I want to remind you, what's your job as a parent, as a homeschooling mom, right? Your job is not to know all of it and know how to teach every lesson that's out there, but your job is to find a system that will work for you and for your child, a system that will work for your family, the resources that that match your child's learning style, and also resources that will help you show up for your kids, show up for your family, instead of just ignoring yourself as a whole and make it all about your kids, right? So we want you to pay attention to your child's learning style. What do they enjoy? Are they like more textbook, visual? I want to sit down and, go over all the letters and the numbers, and this is how I'm going to learn. Or you might have another child who is in the opposite end of the spectrum, who cannot sit down, who wants to play with things. He has more of a tactile or auditory style. You want to pay attention to these things. There is no test that you're going to have to do so you can figure this out. It's just by practice and paying attention to your children, how they respond to activities. You don't just put it down and say, oh, he doesn't listen to me, she doesn't want to do it, she just tells me no. No, this is data. Whatever their reaction is data for us to know what kind of resources they need from us, right? And the parts when you have to pay attention to what you enjoy. If, for example, math stresses you out, which is very, very common, right? You can outsource it. Find a friend who's better at it. Find a tutor. Find an online class. Your responsibility is to know the resources that are out there, is to know what's out there and find them for your child and for yourself, right? And the resources are different. It could be tutoring, like we say, it could be homeschooling curriculum, but it's also learning about methods of teaching, learning about methods of parenting, learning about of different temperaments, because not all kids are the same. We're just humans. Just like you're not just like your friend, you're not just like your siblings, you're not just like your neighbor. The kids are not the same, they're different, they have different temperaments. And what we try to accomplish here in homeschooling is that customization, give our kids the things that will help them thrive, the things that they actually need to help them thrive. If we want one size fits all, we can send them to school, right? So, your role here, you want to focus on paying attention to your kids and yourself, what you enjoy, what you dislike, and find the resources that will support that lifestyle. Okay. Um, so yeah, when I want to mention this too, I forgot. I have bullet points and then I start talking and forget about them. So when I say learning style, don't think that it's only one style. Oh, I'm visual. I can only learn with the visual resources. No, you can learn with all the resources, but you might thrive with those visual resources, right? Like one of my kids will not sit down and follow my finger or his finger and read things. He doesn't want to do that. But my other is fine with that. He actually learned better that way, right? Um, so whenever you're looking for resources, don't be so stressed about, oh, I can only find the hands-on stuff, so I'm just gonna go and buy all the hands-on stuff. No, it's better to have them, but they can also you can also still use other resources and they can still benefit from them, inshallah. Okay, so practice makes confidence. You need to practice things. You need to start homeschooling. You cannot just learn and look from far away and say that I don't know how to do it. I'm nervous and I'm just going to keep looking from far, right? Or admiring how everybody else is able to do it, especially this one when everyone else is able to do it except you, which is not the truth, right? But you have to start doing things, and the more challenges you will face, the more you will learn how to handle them. So when you first hit a challenge, it is very, very easy to say, oh, I'm not good enough, or my child is not listening to me, or I'm too lenient, I need to be more structured, right? Don't measure your child's growth based on how much you actually got done in a day. Usually, this is what we do. Like, children grow in different paces, right? Some kids need more time to learn to read, but they're very quick with math. I should have done something here. Okay. I started the meeting summary, so whoever starts late can have that. Yeah, so don't measure your child's success or growth by how much stuff you were able to handle or to accomplish during the day. Right? Some kids need more repetition than other. Some kids need more time in a subject than others. Some kids need less structure. When they have like very rigid structure, they actually feel like they're trapped and they need to feel free to have multiple breaks and others. So we want to think about the long-term goals, and I'm going to get to that. So when things get tough, you just have to tweak things around and learn about the homeschooling methods that are out there. You know, we all hear Montessori, Waldorf, all of that, but we don't really learn about them. And when you learn about the strategies that these people research and tried, you get to find a strategy that will work for you and your child, right? And the I guess the main part is you need to trust yourself as a teacher, even though you don't have the teacher background. Because when you have a baby, when you get pregnant and you give birth to your baby, you don't say, oh, I don't know how to do this, so I'm just gonna give up. You just try. You look it up. You Google things. You ask your mom, your grandma, your friend who has older kids, the people who have more experience. You go to the pediatrician. You ask tons of questions, right? Usually the first time parents ask way more questions pediatricians to the seasoned parents because of practice. So same thing when you just start in homeschooling, you're starting something new, right? You wanna ask for advice. You want to read the books. You want to look things up. And just like you taught your child to walk and read and eat, and eat and talk, you will be able to teach your child to read and count again. Like like if I tell you, oh, well, I'm so nervous. I don't know how to teach my child to walk. Everybody will say, well, that's so silly. They will learn how to walk. You just have to encourage them a little bit when they're ready. Same thing with reading. They will learn how to read. You just have to encourage them, push them a little bit, give them the right resources when they are ready. And um, I was just gonna say something and it escapes my mind. Mm, I heard my kids laugh and it escapes my mind. Yeah, a potty training. Oh, I don't know how to potty train. Do you find like a 10-year-old still with diapers? No, you eventually potty train, right? You learn about it when the kids are ready, you follow the signs, and then you push them, right? So, same thing with homeschooling. You have to trust yourself. You have to trust yourself as a teacher. So, okay. So, uh, this workshop was supposed to be for the co-op only, but I guess I made the mistake in the last email and sent it to everyone. But you guys, of course, you can stay. And inshallah, this is going to be beneficial because it's for all homeschoolers. All right, so embrace flexibility in homeschooling is my other point. You're not going to measure your child's growth with with what you did every single day. You want to be flexible, right? I know that this is very, very hard for a lot of moms to swallow because sometimes that flexibility means unstructured, means that we're just don't know what to do, and the days go by and I didn't do anything, so I'm failing, right? And there's also like I can the fear of like I cannot be flexible or else I'm gonna lose the momentum. Flexibility in homeschooling is learning how to fall off the wagon and get back on it. You're never going to be able to stay in the wagon all the time, every single day. Even teachers in schools, they don't come. We have subs that come and show up. Even your child doesn't go to school every single day, right? That's why they have a perfect attendance trophy because not everybody has it. It's rare when you get to have that. It's the same thing in homeschooling. You're not going to be able to replicate the school at home. You want to be flexible. And the secret here to flexibility, and this is what I think, this is the first thing I teach is when I say flexible homeschooling you need to know the learning goals that you need to focus on. You need to know the skills that you want your children to learn and your, family to learn and to grow. Alaikum salam, Falak. Good to see you. Right. So yes, homeschooling gives you choices, but I know those choices can be overwhelming. But it is what it is. It's not a one size fits all. You can't have perfect attendance. Your children will not have the same learning style. Even if you have one child, that child may not be learning the same way you learned. So when you come and teach them math in a way that you taught it or you learned it, um, it doesn't work, right? You're like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong, right? So you want to keep these things in mind when when things come up your and like when challenges come up and you feel stuck or unsure, you want to be flexible. And the other thing that's very important is create a space that will don't worry, Muna. Okay. This is why I got distracted. I was unmuting people coming in. Anyway, so flexibility in homeschooling, uh, that because not every child learns the same way, and to make sure that you stay flexible and you have an environment that actually productive, you need to set your home in a way that helps your kids and yourself to thrive. You set your routine in a way that will have quiet time, that you'll have good meals that are energetic, that you have a break time for yourself so you can recharge. If you are with kids all day long, you become insane. So you need those breaks. And many of us, and myself, I know firsthand experience, being with kids all day is hard. You need to have a break. You need to have um, quiet time. They need to be quiet for a moment. You need to be quiet for a moment to recharge, right? And your kids need to move their bodies. They have to have either a trampoline or something like a nugget couch or a swing or something to move their bodies. Well, another problem that I notice a lot is when moms have girls and then they switch to boys, boys need to move more. They're not like girls who will just sit down and read that book for hours and color quietly. And girls need movement as well, but I've noticed so far that boys really need a lot more movement than girls. Right? So make sure that they have enough time to do that. It doesn't have to be outside in the park every day, but you can mimic that movement place at home as well. It will calm their nervous system, right? And that will help you and them to be energized for learning and keep things running smoothly, inshallah. The key, as I said, is set learning goals, right? Set learning goals meaning I want my kids to learn in this semester not just whatever it says in that curriculum that you chose. Yes, you can have, I want my kids to learn multiplications. I need them to start reading fluently. I want them to learn to do narration, arguments, whatever, it's whatever you are interested in and your child is interested in and you think is beneficial for your family. You don't have to have the same learning skill as your neighbor. You can get inspired by what they're learning, but you don't have to do it all at once. Just like college, you don't learn the whole program in one semester. You keep breaking it apart. So also, don't forget, playing with others is a skill they need to learn. Sharing with others, cleaning up after themselves, putting their pajamas away. You don't just focus only on the academics. There's so many life skills that you want to have, and having learning goals allows you to be flexible. It's not The goal here is not to just every single day to finish one worksheet of math. So what? What if that worksheet is just repetition and your child does not need to repeat that thing anymore, right? You want to have the goal of I want my child to be able to do mental math or to be okay. My daughter is crying and I don't hear the other ones. Let me go check on her. So I'm giving you these strategies because when you have these things done, you are more confident in yourself. You are more confident to teach your kids and to just tackle homeschooling. When you're constantly judging your performance and your child's performance by if you finish the curriculum that day or not, you add so much stress to yourself and negative language that you're not good enough, that you're going to be failing at this, that you're falling behind, right? So I'm giving you the strategies to use so you don't feel that way. No one measures their growth day to day. Yeah, like for example, in memorizing and you want to be fluent in some language, you want to have to practice daily or almost daily, but sometimes might be 2 minutes and other times might be 10 minutes and others might be 20 minutes. It's okay. Yes, it's good to be disciplined and have a reminder maybe in your alarm clock to do a review of the surah every day, but sometimes you'll be able to do more than other times, and that's okay. This is why we want learning goals instead of just I need to learn this and that's it, but you need to have I want to memorize the Quran. I want to have Quran as a daily habit that we all do together, right? It's a family goal as well. And the other strategy I have, I didn't number them, but when you take notes, I can send like a summary at the end and you can put numbers on them. Celebrate your wins. This is a hard one for me. I'm very practical and I think a lot like problem solver and I think a lot about the things that I need to solve. I need to get better, and it's good. It's a good character to have. It's a good thing that you want to do things with ihsan, excellence. However, you can't ignore the things that are already good that are happening to you. That's kind of like not being content with Allah's blessings, right? So it was hard for me, and still hard for me. Sometimes I would forget to notice the positive things that are happening around the house. And when you notice these positive things, they again help you be more confident. You get to see the things that you accomplish, right? We're very hard on ourselves. We grade ourselves a lot. We don't want to do that, because we wouldn't do that to people we love. We wouldn't do that to our kids. We don't grade our kids like that. So, same thing, why would we do it to ourselves, right? And the other thing is, do not wait for other people's validations. Do not wait for your husband to come and tell you, good job. Do not wait for your friends to come and tell you, good job. They will tell you that once in a while, but people are busy with their own things, right? You should do that to yourself. You should learn to recognize the positive things that you're able to do. And I heard the um, Ustadha, Sheikha, a doctor, I think she's a doctor too. What's her name? The one that comes to Valley Ranch. Haifa. Haifa Yunus, I think. She said that when Allah gives you a test, and homeschooling is such a good test, subhanAllah, when Allah gives you a test and you go, like, you win, like you pass the test, you don't just say I did it, but you say Alhamdulillah, Allah allowed me to do it. That's how you win. Otherwise you fail if you just say I did it and you attribute it to yourself alone. No, you want to say that Alhamdulillah, Allah, you allowed us to be home, you allowed us to be healthy, you allowed us to learn how to read, you allowed us to learn how to read your Quran, you allowed us to have a teacher to teach us how to read the Quran, right? There's so many positive things. Even if you're always going to be progressing, you're not going to get to the finish line, right? But you get to be you get to celebrate the progress as well. The other strategy is build a supportive community. Do not be afraid to make friends. Alhamdulillah, we have our co-op. Awesome families. They all have the same values. I can guarantee you that's what I spend my summer doing. They all have the same values. Like, I talk to so many people. Not everybody who wants to join the co-op does, because I want to make sure that they all have the same values, right? So please open your heart, talk to them, make friends, meet other places, or like invite them over, or meet at the park, or even just that day. Like, say salam to somebody that you never said salam to. Even if your kids are not the same age, you might learn something from them. They're, mashallah, you guys are all have like so many gems that you're hiding. I have to like keep sharing in the group what each one of you does, mashallah. There's so many talented moms that because they're homeschooled, they're not pursuing that passion, but they have that wisdom. So please have people that are in the same journey as you, be friends with them, tell them don't be afraid to share your challenges with them. If you have a group of friends right now that you have to double check or second guess yourself before sharing your struggles, because they might just like put you down, or they keep sharing struggles only, there is no uplifting, then just leave, find somebody else, right? Uplifts Put yourself in places that are uplifting and empowering so you can keep moving forward. Resources, utilize resources. Do not sleep on my resources. Like, I get to see you, alhamdulillah, every week, and I get to talk to so many of you, but also like there's more than 30 parents there, so I cannot like split my time between all of you. But I have so many resources. Here's one for us. There's so many that I have already recorded. I have like monthly coaching to help you keep progressing. There is so much going on. What's her name? Mesa is not here. She's an amazing spiritual coach. She will keep you on your toes to keep your spirituality on track. We have so many gems in Dallas, alhamdulillah. Find them. Invest in your education, because when you invest in your education, you increase your confidence, and you get to give back to your children, your family, to yourself. You nurture yourself, you nurture your kids. There's so many, alhamdulillah, resources out there. Our homeschooling community is huge. It's huge. I don't think, like, we all came from some states. We all know we don't have the same stuff. They don't have the same stuff that we have here. Alhamdulillah, we have a huge spiritual community, huge Muslim community that homeschools on top of that. Alhamdulillah. So, if you have any questions, please put them down on here. And this is like the end of the first section. 30 minutes, good, right on time. I have an exercise for you. I want you to just reflect on your homeschooling journey, even if you just started yesterday. Is there something that you love about it? Like, choose 3 things. Maybe you love the couch where you sit and you read the books to your child. Maybe you have a new planner that you enjoy. You don't need a planner, by the way. But if you do, if you like planners, maybe you have something that you enjoy. Please write 3 things, or you can unmute yourself and say it. Yes, Falak. Falak always just started yesterday, so she will need all our supports.
I just wanted to say, before you even finished your question, like I have an exercise for you guys. I want you to think about your homeschooling. My brain automatically went to think about what needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
That's like I finished it, but you went, and then I'm like, okay, I don't even know how to answer the actual question. So I'll go think
Yeah, I
about that.
can answer it for you, but
No.
you have to do it yourself. Yeah, yeah. I have the same mind, and I think that's why you were able to relate to me in the beginning, is that I had the same struggles. Is like problem solving oriented, rather than appreciating what I have. What's it now? All right, guys, I'm waiting. Just type it in. You have 2 minutes.
Agree with you. You know, subhanAllah, Miriam, you've seen where I've been at. I feel like every day I wake up and I'm questioning the decision I am doing or about homeschooling because, you know, I have very little kids and it is so hard to make, like, I feel like I'm questioning, am I making the right decision? Am I preventing them from something better? But I will say, Miriam, like, I absolutely love the flexibility of homeschooling. Like, for example, today we spent the whole morning outside on a nature walk, and that was so nice. And I just kept thinking, like, if they were in school, we wouldn't get to do this. Or, you know, and letting them be free. And also just I keep hearing about the schools and I'm like, subhanAllah, we are so fortunate, and like what a blessing it is to be able to actually homeschool our kids, you know? And as hard as it is, like I appreciate knowing that other people are also in this with me, and that we have you, Mariam, to help, you know, kind of guide us and just encourage this decision, because it is something that I've been questioning a lot. But the more that I'm like getting into it, the more I realize I do enjoy it. It's a little bit hard with the baby, but alhamdulillah. Sorry. That wasn't 3 things. I
Don't
don't
be
even know if I
sorry.
I don't know
No,
if I
you said what everybody else is thinking. Yes, it is hard with the baby, and it's always going to be hard. The parents who don't have a baby still think it's hard because they have other challenges. You know, kids grow so fast, and their development change, between the change between 3 months to 6 months to 7 months old, for example, the change between a 2 year old and a 3 year old and a 5 year old. And then it becomes okay, well, then we have 6 and 7, and then we have the 9 and 10. There's always a change. It's faster when they're younger. So there's always something new that we have to learn, we have to catch up with. All right, we have here. Sarah said she loves sisters who motivate me and make me feel confident, alhamdulillah. Like, I was not sure about teaching, but you encouraged me and guided me, and now I'm excited to teach the next block. Yay, I'm happy. Yeah, the same thing with this is what I don't want the teaching part to be. What? I like moms to have the opportunity to teach because they get to learn from practice. Shuruk loves having kids at home to listen, to enjoy their curiosity, yeah, their questions. And I remember the first time I had a 3 year old. He went to school for like 2 months, and he learned to write his name without me. And I'm like, oh, I missed that. So spending time with the kids, flexibility, being with the similar minded Muslim community. Alhamdulillah for abundance of resources, for the little collection of books that you have, and the sahba that we got to know by homeschooling. Yes, definitely. Alhamdulillah. I know not all of you did this, but please find 1 to 3 things about your homeschooling, what you like about it. It could be the library that you have, if you have walking distance library, if you have a routine that you like, anything. You can find a lot of things that will just you keep looking back to, and it will increase your love for what you do, and it will increase your confidence to keep going. Being able to teach emotional intelligence. Yep. Yes. 100%. Okay. Yes, I love the individual attention and stronger bonding experience that we get the kids have and applying what we learn every day. Homeschooling has changed and really shifted my mind and how I see life in general and prioritizing our deen. Definitely, that's exactly what happened to me. Agree with Muna, appreciate the flexibility, and also really grateful for the other moms I've met on this journey. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. So happy to hear you guys. Okay. Why are you upset? Why are you upset? What's wrong? I can't find what else I can give you. It's really big. Okay. All right, let's move on to the kids. How to boost your child's self-esteem and confidence. I know here, like we as moms, we notice again, like all the things that we need to fix. So we notice these things on our kids when they don't do things the way we expect them to do. So I want to just mention about confidence that the safer your child feels, the more confident they become. Sorry, let me fix my screen so I can see everyone. Alright. Alhamdulillah. Thank you. Okay. So the safer your child feels, the more confident they become. So when you want your child to say something to you confidently, they have to feel safe, that it's okay to say it to you. But also remember that every child is different, right? You know, siblings can have different personalities. Some children they're naturally, outspoken, and other kids are very perfectionist, right? They worry about making mistakes and messing things up. And this, watching our kids and observing them with like doing these things, it's just data. Okay, guys, sorry. I'm gonna turn off the camera. I'm going to nurse her and see if that will work. Okay, I think she's sleepy. So watching our kids struggling, trying with perfectionism or worrying to make mistakes, being scared to talk to other adults, that just gives us data and insights in how they see themselves, and it reminds us that okay, this is what we need to work on. And in the meantime, we have to make sure that they know that they're good enough. They know that they are worthy. They know that they are capable. They are capable of coming up with great ideas. They are capable of starting a project and finishing it, right? And the more you are involved in what they do, the better or the easier you can help them, right? Sometimes they'll have an idea for a project, but then they'll mess it up, right? You have to say that okay, sometimes your ideas work and other times they won't work, and that's okay. It's part of the learning process, right? So as parents, we need to make sure that we guide them through this journey, remind them that learning is happening all the time. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala create the first word that He said in the Quran, that He sent us in the Quran, is Iqra. And we are naturally eager to learn, like as adults or as kids. We're always going to be learning. We're always going to be making mistakes. We're not perfect, and this is just part of life. This is how life is doing. Right, and I'm going to share strategies on how to help them with boosting their confidence, right? So the first one is give them space and opportunities to try. Don't shelter them and do everything for them because you're going to do it better or quicker. You're not helping them that way, right? Let them make mistakes and let them learn from it. For example, when we have a little child, let them pour the water and then they're going to make a mess and then you bring a towel. So what? Like 30 seconds, right? It's not a big deal. But then they're going to learn how to pour water from a jug, right? And this is a special and very important hands-on skill that they need to have. When we're talking about an older kid, let's say an 8-year-old, give them money, let them buy something that's junk, and then they realize, oh, not everything's good quality and it's not worth it to spend my money on these things. Now I have to do better research. Let them make mistakes because that's how they will learn, right? When the toddler is eating with a spoon, they're gonna make all the mess, right? You can choose to not let them be messy so you don't have to clean the bib or the floor and feed them. But till when you're gonna be feeding them, right? At some point they need to start learning to eat by themselves. Are they still going to be making the same mess when they're 10 years old? No. They will improve, right? So when they make mistakes, it's very important to say the right thing, to react the right way. And here, the right way is just to acknowledge their efforts. Like, you'll do better with practice. You spilled the milk. Oh, I was trying to pour some milk, but I made the mistake. That's fine. We're gonna try to clean it. We're gonna clean it now, and you'll try another time. Maybe if they use a paper cup, you can ask them to use a mug or something that's heavier, so that because the paper cup is light, it will fall easily. You help them in that situation. You focus to improve what they did right, what they tried to do, acknowledge their efforts, right, and help them find either assure them that they can try again or give them a tip on how to do it better, right? um the second strategy is, what's wrong? Mama, it's okay, it's okay, no. The second strategy will be to celebrate their efforts, not just the results, right? So as I said earlier, you celebrate your wins, but you also celebrate in your effort, not just the actual win, but being persistent, being curious, solving a problem, right? Actually, this happened yesterday. I was on a call and my eldest Adam was using the laptop. And I think he stepped away from it and it got locked. So he called me and I said, "Oh, just wait a moment. When I finish, I can come and fix it." He didn't wait and he brought me the laptop to unlock it. And I said, "Problem solver." And he's like, "Yeah, because you teach us to solve our problems." And they remember, they learn everything that we tell them. So I often tell them that not progress, practice makes progress, right? It's not about being perfect. We're always going to be improving and learning, but the more you practice, the better you have to get at something. You have to progress. You have to. There's no other choice. You cannot practice something so many times and not have some progress, right? So I'm gonna give you an example. Like if your child, like a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old, drew something that you have no idea what it is, it just looks messy. Instead of lying and say, "Oh, that's beautiful," or or think that it's something, but it turns out it's not, you can look at it and say, "Oh, I see that you use 3 different colors. Use orange, and orange is one of my favorite colors," right? And if your child got, when your child hears this, they pay attention to details. And they're like, "Oh, I chose all these colors. Oh, my mom likes orange. I'm going to draw something else in orange," right? That just like boosted their confidence. their confidence in knowing what to do, knowing how to draw, and knowing what colors to choose. If they get dressed by themselves, right? Acknowledge that their decision making, that they were able to choose a t-shirt because it's hot today instead of wearing a sweater, for example, or a jacket. Um, you can say like, great thinking, it's hot today, t-shirt is perfect for this weather, right? Or they're gonna go play outside and they wore pants or jeans, or they just the fact that they changed from their pajamas to other day clothes. You acknowledge that they did something like that, right? And yeah, before you, some of you might worry here, don't have clothes if they're not appropriate for the season. So in the kids' closets and drawer, just have what's appropriate, right? And if something is not appropriate, hide it until the other season so you don't, so you are able to let them choose their own clothes, but also within, appropriate, it's clothing, if you know what I mean. Okay. The third strategy, which is very, very important, and you need to use this all your life, is to think out loud. So your kids learn how you think, how you make decisions, and how you assess things. So when you make a mistake, you acknowledge that you made a mistake, but do not use negative labels. Do not say, oh, I'm so clumsy, oh, I'm like stupid, or something like that. Do not say that. But you say your mistake. Oops, like I made a mistake. Next time I need to read the whole recipe before I just start using the ingredients and mixing stuff. I need to make sure that it takes the right amount of time or the right amount of ingredients, right? You highlight the mistake and you highlight what solution you're going to come up with. And that's how they see you do it, and they will do the same way. Okay? They will learn to, they will have the tools to handle their challenges, and that will boost their confidence instead of just not trying at all. So you have to involve them in decision making as well. It's not just about like, what do you want to eat today? No, but if like you're planning the day, guys, we want to do this and this and that. Is there anything you want to add? Do you have any say, like any observation? Sometimes they might say, but it's raining, but what if it rains and stuff like that, right? Or I wanted to do this. It's a conversation. They get to learn and feel involved, and this actually like nurture solves another problem of, I'm not gonna get into it, but the problem of like power struggles, because the kids don't get involved and they just feel like they're just this add on to your life, and that's why they annoy you a lot. When they are involved, they don't annoy you as much. they they feel valued and part of the family, so they're more cooperative, right? Same thing with homeschooling. Do you have any input? Give them small choices and stuff. um, hmm. Also, if they're a little older, you can involve them in meal planning, and not just what you want to eat, but it's what ingredients do we have that we can use. Like instead of just choosing random meals, let's pay attention to our ingredients that we already have so we can use them and not let them expire, our budget, whatever it is. So you have to go through these challenges with them and model your solutions. That's how they will learn how to make their own solutions, and and then they will feel confident to take the risk. Okay. The last strategy, and not least, is empower them with scripts, right? Like for example, you you are at the library and they want something, and you want to empower them, like encourage them to go and ask the librarian by themselves. They're like, no, no, you can do it, go, 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 go ask the librarian. And then your child goes and he forgets to say excuse me or thank you, or just like, doesn't say it the proper way that you would approve of. But if you didn't show them how to do that first, you cannot judge them. You cannot tell them, well, why did you not say thank you? You were being rude, right? So give them scripts. At that moment, you realize that your child can go to ask the librarian by themselves. You can say, okay, let's practice. Say, excuse me, can I please have this? Or can you please help me find this book? And then wait until she answers, and then you say thank you, right? And if you have a follow-up questions, you wait until she finishes, and then you ask your follow-up question, right? You have to prepare them, and that will boost their confidence to go and ask. And then after that, you just practice. They might forget something, you tell them it's okay, the next time we'll practice again until you will remember. And always give them also examples when you were their age. When I was your age, I wanted to go ask the librarian or the teacher, and I was so nervous because I didn't know how to say this, or I said it and I messed it up, and I was worried that people would laugh about me. Say your own stories, and that will help them again, like feel they're not alone, that their parents went through the same, and now they're big and adults and awesome, and they never make mistakes, whatever your child thinks about you, and that will again will boost their confidence, right? Does that make sense? Do you have any questions here? Did you try any of these, and any challenges that came up? And then I'll have a challenge for you again.
Yes, I actually had a follow-up question. I've noticed lately, Ayman has been apologizing a lot. I don't know if it's becoming like, did I scare him into always having to apologize? Like if he drops a pencil, I'm sorry. And I don't know where that's coming from. I'm not usually one to kind of reprimand him. So I'm not sure where that's coming from. And always I'm like, it's okay. Like it's okay if something falls. It's not your fault.
Yeah, I mean, what's wrong with apologizing?
Why the excessive apologizing? Yeah.
Why is it
Like
excessive?
it's like 17 times a day. I don't want him to be a people pleaser.
That's the
I don't want him to end up like me.
exactly. So we get nervous when they do things that we do, and you're worried about people pleasing. So instead of just worrying about like saying, "Oh, don't say sorry, don't say sorry, don't say sorry," he's so young. He just exploring. He just learned to say sorry when things don't go the
Not
way.
because like he's like scared of me or something.
He's not scared of you. Um, He's not scared of you. He just learn he's just learn to say sorry when things don't go the right way, and they all go through that. I believe all my kids went through a phase like this. They're just so cute when they say sorry, right? And most of my kids, not all of them. One of them was the opposite. But you focus on the fact that you don't want them to be people pleasers, and you teach them boundaries on that when when they're playing with you, when they're playing with their friends later on, when they're 5 years old and up. You don't always say yes just because the other person asked. I do that with my 8-year-old now, where I ask him, or somebody asks you to trade this, what was the conversation like? Like, did you really want this, or you just because they asked you, you said yes? Like, there's a lot of boundaries that you can teach when he's a little older, and again, when you think out loud in front of them, they learn how to copy that. And of course, don't think out loud everything, guys. You are skeptic, like you do it intentionally, right? The things that you want them to learn, you say it out loud, and they'll acknowledge it and they'll learn to do the same. Any other questions? Yeah, no, especially if you have ADHD and you don't stop thinking. Yeah, be intentional about the things that you think out loud about. And it comes again with practice. It's something that you practice with time. The more you do it, the better you get at this, the natural it becomes. All right, so if you have any other questions, you can either unmute yourself or put them in the chat box. And the challenge I want you to have this time is that give opportunities to your kids to learn, to make a decision and take action, right? So if your 3-year-old gets dressed by themselves, you acknowledge the efforts behind it, and what's happening? Oh, sorry, shut up. Go. I don't know. They changed
Um,
Zoom. it's, I guess it got an update.
yeah,
Yes,
don't
shut
know.
up.
Okay, so I have a quick question in regards to like encouraging them and like helping them be confident in things that they want to do. So my um oldest is almost 10, but he has always like really, really, really big ideas, right? So for example, like he loves to do smoothies, and the other day he just came up with the idea. He's like, I want to publish my smoothies. And I was like, oh, that's a great idea. The first thing what I thought was like, oh, you can like write a book. That's what I was thinking, right? But um he was like, well, I said, so then he mentioned it a few times. I said, okay, well, how about you start writing down like the basic stuff and the basic recipes that you have, and then we can slowly plan out how you go about that. He's like, no, no, I want to take a video of it and then I can just publish it online. And so I was like stuck because I was more thinking of like, oh, we can make a book and take pictures and, do this and that. Um, so I don't want to like bump down his idea and be like, no, we're not going to do it online. We just, I guess, and he has other ideas like, oh, I want to create this, for example, I want to laser, or what is it? I want to 3D print this.
3D printer is the hype now.
Yes, like I want to 3D print this what is it called, this Nerf gun that I want to do, but it's instead of Nerf gun I want it to create like balloons that you can just put it in. And I was like, oh, that's a great idea, how about you create a diagram? And him and his dad were working on a diagram, but it's like sometimes, and then he keeps like drawing it and creating different things. I'm like, that's a great idea, okay. So but sometimes they're just a little bit too much, I guess, for me, for my own abilities to go ahead and execute them. I mean, there's like so many other things. Like I want to create this. He's so into like war machines and like guns. I don't know. It's also we're in Jordan, and there's a lot of talk about what's happening in Gaza and
Yeah.
all that. So there's that big influence. But he's always been very interested in, or he likes, I guess, when he likes something, he dives really deep into it. So I want to
Yeah.
create thing that like can create bombs and explodes. And I also sometimes I try to tell him, okay, well, how can this help people? What can, but I just feel that sometimes I am at a wall where I don't want to keep putting down his ideas or just kind of like making them super small, minimizing them. Does that make
Mhm.
sense? You see where my question is going?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, first
Okay.
of all, you thought about the book instead of the video because you're old school and he's Gen Alpha, whatever
Yeah,
this Gen
that's
is.
very true. That's very true.
Yeah. They don't think about publishing a book anymore. They think about videos. And there's so much to learn and to accomplish through the idea and publishing videos. You can, if you don't want them to be online at all, he can put them in a drive. He can put them on YouTube as private or unlisted, right? He can do them without voice, without video, like pictures of himself or anything. Just the things happening. He can learn a lot of skills like motion, stop motion things to make the video like a stop motion, but also a smoothie where the ingredients are falling in there. Right? There's so much that he can do, and for you to your job, I think, here would just be to encourage the continuous. Do you notice that every time he got this great idea and he starts and he gives up, you want to know why he would give up? What stops him? At least have a notebook or a document where he writes his ideas so he can go back to them later on. Maybe he will have better resources when he comes here and he can actually access the 3D printer and make something, right?
Mm.
So, and if something that's out of your ability, you just acknowledge that. You tell him exactly that this is out of our ability. We cannot afford the pieces. Maybe, let's say, to make that project happen, you need some money. Well, this is gonna take a few months because you need to fundraise for this project. And this is just the real world, right? somebody gets an idea for a startup, it doesn't work the next day. You need to go through all those steps, and money is one of the steps that you need to find a solution for, and outsource all the materials. And if it's easier to get it done in the US, then you put it in that document until later on, right? And revisit it again. And if something that you think it's not appropriate, it's not going to be able to help people, then that's a good point as well, because we want to use our resources that Allah gave us, our time, our sights, our limbs, to produce something that will have a positive impact, right? Not waste our time. Like, I don't know, streaming video games, like where they're playing, whatever they're doing. That's not, that's, to me, that's a waste of time. That's not something that we want to be like part of. So something like that, it's good to highlight all these things. He's 10 years old, mashallah, he can have these conversations. And your job as an adult is to be logical. I guess not logical, what's the word? Try to not be stuck in your ways of doing things. If he's different than you because you don't operate that way, and he's very like into inventions and creating things and jumping from one idea to another, it might be overstimulating for you, but you have to be mindful of that you remove yourself and the way you would do things. It's not about you, it's about him. And be clear on the things that you need to help him with. That he doesn't give up on the idea just because, without doing proper research, or just because, oh no, I'm not going to be able to do it. Right? You want to know why he would give up. Is he sabotaging himself? Is he saying anything negative to himself? Because these stories, they stay in our brain. And then when you grow up, you find yourself doing things without knowing why. And then you realize, oh, because when I was growing up, I was, I always started things and I couldn't finish them. So I'm just going to tell, like, from now till the next 10 years, I'm just going to keep telling my mind that I'm not going to be able to do that because I always start things and I never finish them. And we don't want them to fall there. Okay? You know what I mean?
Yes, Jazakallah khairan, thank you.
Right, okay, so yeah, so the challenge I want you to do is just to give your children a few opportunities, like maybe one opportunity today to do something, and also acknowledge the way you speak about their efforts. Say something nice about their efforts, acknowledge it, and practice that, right? You get to practice acknowledging their efforts, and they get to practice doing things. My kids keep making up stories that didn't happen. This is from my 6-year-old and 3-year-old. Sometimes the stories from school they make up to copy things did actually happen with my oldest. Yeah, I did ignore this from all of them and enjoy their stories, but now I'm lost and I don't know what's true and what's made up. When you have 3 kids, they outnumber you. I'm okay with all of that, but I still want to make sure that it doesn't grow up with them and making up stories isn't right. My oldest will keep telling me while they are saying the story, this is a lie, this is a lie. Okay. Okay, yeah. You see how your 8-year-old, he's 8, right, Ali? Yeah. So he's able to say, oh, this is a lie, this didn't happen. I'd rather not use the word a lie, but he can use like, this is just fiction, imagination. They're just imagining and making up stories. It is okay to make stories because this is why we have stories. That's why we have books, right? It is okay to have stories, but you cannot pretend that they are real. So, and that your 6-year-old might be able to understand it. Your 3-year-old, not really, but your 6-year-old might be able to understand this now. And Adam went through a phase when he would make up a story. I think when he turned 7, he would make up a story and then tell me joking. I'm like, no, we don't joke with with these things. And 2 things that I did is that I told him that you can say actually a joke and we can all have fun and laugh. And if you want to make up a story, you can make up a story when we're talking about like imagination and in homeschooling, you can have times when you do um, like how we do show and tell in school. You can do storytelling, and they can all come up with a story. One exercise I like to do with them, that each one starts with something, with a prompt, with a story, and the other person needs to finish it, and then it goes until they make up a story. So you give them space where they can do that, and also tell them that the Prophet ﷺ always joked with us without saying a lie, without saying something that's not true. I avoid saying lie because lying is very, very strong, very real, and I want to keep it in the category where I'm trying to get away from something, so I didn't say the truth, so I lied, and don't say it um, in other instances. So give them opportunities to make up stories. Tell them that whenever we speak and we've given mom like information about something that happened, we make sure to only say the truth and what we remember was real. If there is something that we're not sure if it was real, we say it. We say that I'm not sure, I don't remember correctly. And if you want to make a joke, the process, and I'm always like whenever he made a joke, made sure that he joked with something that's true and not something that's made up. I hope this helps. Thank you. Alhamdulillah, thank you. Okay, all right. Time to wrap it up, guys. I had fun doing this workshop. I hope it was helpful to you and you were able to take notes. If you did, please share them in the group. I will also share mine, inshallah. And yeah, looking forward to do more and see you, inshallah, on Tuesday. Assalamu alaikum. You're welcome.